Welcome to this week's edition of Red and Black Sport. Well, a mixed bag really, wasn't it, over the weekend? The 6-year reign for the Canterbury ITM side finished in a bit of a crash and burn, really, didn't it? No tries at all to Canterbury, never really looked like scoring one. The problem is, of course, I've got to say I was absolutely thrilled for Tasman because I think you've heard me say on this program many times, they are a side that I really am impressed with. I think they just play a great brand of rugby and they were just too good for Canterbury, end of story, and they just demolished them. And a bad week as well for the Canterbury women's side. They got beaten, at least they made it to their final, but gotten beaten again by the old enemy, Auckland. So, yep, get to the final. It's happened so often for the women. They're a good side, but just not quite able to go up that extra notch against Auckland. And the Canterbury Bulls, well, what a circus in rugby league, trying to find a provincial champion. The two that got through were both put out. Canterbury gets a go and Canterbury win it. So congratulations to the Bulls. They'll take the win any way they can. Then, of course, we go across the Tasman and a complete Wallaby side in disarray. Well, they didn't look too bad, did they, for a side that were on the ropes? Little did we know, of course, that the coach had resigned prior to. But, yep, well, once again, the out-of-jail card was played by the All Blacks. They've done it a few times, haven't they? And I was thinking about it, you know, probably what really counts in the end is that they are just so supremely fit that the good sides go hell for leather to beat them, and they just run out of a little bit of puff at crucial times. Colin Slade, well, he went from the outhouse to the penthouse, didn't he? Missed touch, should have got it. He knew that straight away, and he was granted a reprieve with the conversion. So, unfortunate for him, the side's come out now to go to the UK. He misses the cut and doesn't make it, and that's probably because they hang their hat on Dan Carter. But if I was Colin Slade, I'd keep training, son, because I think you may get called up to go over anyway. I think DC may really just be struggling at the moment. So, and for Luke Romano, well, good luck to him. I don't see him playing a lot of rugby over there because he's just back, of course, from the broken leg, and I think they want to monitor him and get him in the system and just keep working with him. So the side's been named. We wish them the best of luck. England will still be formidable, won't they? That is for sure at Twickenham. So we wish them luck as they go about their tour. And tomorrow, of course, the Black Caps start their campaign towards the World Cup, which is just so exciting. Why is it so exciting, the World Cup? Because finally Canterbury are involved in a World Cup, and they're more than involved. They've got a wonderful lead-up number of games at this beautiful new stadium at the Pavilion, and then, of course, they get the opening game, courtesy of the ICC, and that was a tremendous boost for Canterbury and a belief in the fact of what they've done. So we wish McCullum and co all the very best of luck. Talking about achievers, and you've probably heard me on this program go butcher's hook about things from time to time, and one thing I do feel very, very sorry for are achievements in sport which for some reason seem to be blocked by various trusts and sporting bodies. And what am I talking about? We've got an absolute freak in my guest Dexter Dunn. There's never been a arrangement of that age, of that calibre. It's been some wonderful arrangement, but they've all been a heck of a lot older than this young fella. Well, of course, he doesn't move far without the boss, and I wouldn't either. Crandell Geddes with him as well. 2013-14 season, a magnificent season for both my guests. And let's start congratulating you, Dexter. Wonderful run again. That makes it how many premierships in a row?
Thanks, Pete. I think I'm up to a seven after last season. So,
how do you maintain it?
Green gives me good drives.
No, I knew you were going to say it, but I'm going to say that's bullshit because I don't think that's right. You can have the best firepower underneath you, but you've still got to be able to drive the horse and have the skill to know what to do. You have your own style. It's very distinctive. The hands are always low. They always seem relaxed. Where did that come from?
I guess you just come about that through driving, numbers and more experience helps. But, in saying that, I'm truly honest, I have been pretty lucky with some nice horses. Crean and I had our 500th win as a combo last season. So, I mean, that achievement alone is just shows how lucky I am that I get to put on the maroon and white colours. So, I've been lucky, but it's been great.
He's been very modest, I think. Cran, stellar season last year for you. Great personal triumph for you?
Yes, it was, Pete, yes. We're always striving for our next winner rather than looking back at our last one. But, yeah, we're very satisfied. But it's an industry where whatever you get, you want more, so you've got to keep thinking that way.
Was getting the premiership about as nail-biting as the All Blacks getting over the Wallabies? Because it came right to the wire, didn't it?
It sure did. Yeah, the last day, and as you know, Mark Perd and Nelly were going into the day even, and we're lucky enough to be one up, getting two over him one. So it might be hard to get that again, but at least we can say we've put one feather in our cap anyway.
Was it a goal you set, or does it just come about?
Well, naturally you always like to do it, but it's never a conscience because you never know till the last sort of several weeks of our racing what numbers you're at. But when you get close, you sort of, it's only natural you're thinking about it a little bit. But funny things in sport, the more you try extra hard, sometimes things can fumble.
Yours is even more difficult though, isn't it? Because if you look at a sport, you know, the sportsman, for argument's sake, or woman, are fine achievers. You get a horse as trained to the minute and something can go wrong with the beast, which is out of your control.
Or a bad drive, Pete.
No, we don't say that though.
Yeah, but I'm in a situation, it's a team effort really. I'm just the window front really, Pete. Naturally with Dexter navigating in the good positions naturally. There's a lot of team behind the scene that put everything and bring fruitation together really. So yeah, I'm just one string in the bow really.
Is it a hell of a help to attract owners and investors, you know, with your record?
Well, naturally, I think any facet of business, Pete, results is the best advertising. You can promo yourself as much as you can, but you've got to do the business on the paddock, so to speak. So, yeah, sure, success does breed success, yes.
You must have had a lot of horses, though, going around at that particular season.
Yes, we were bigger numbers, and like I said to Dex and the team, we did live a little bit of a crazy lifestyle there for several months. You know, running around in a bit of a spin, and it's hard to keep that tempo up. You know, there's other bits of life too. You know, myself married and 3 children
Kids.
full of sport and school. You know, you've got to try and have a happy medium. So it's the balancing act.
Talking of funny seasons, you must have a room in a Koru lounge named after you. You chase the house down, mate. You're all over the place.
Yeah, I see enough of the airports anyway, Pete, or the road, you know. So, but I guess you've got to do that to chase the races and chase the meetings. So, wish they were all just down the road at Edington, but they're not. So we head down south a lot. You know,
Yes.
probably about 30 times a year down to Vicargo and Winton and Gordon.
Why do you go there?
Well, I get great support down there. I've got 4 good trainers that have big numbers who, you know, I drive all their horses for. So, you know, if I go down there and have 10 drives and have a couple of winners on a day, you know, it's a pretty profitable day for me. So,
Can you go down and back in a day?
yeah, on a Sunday we can get
Yeah,
down and back
that's good.
flying, so that's really handy. Saturdays we have to stay the night. They obviously the staff
In the
have to
oyster
get off
season,
early.
I suppose you pick those ones, do you?
That's it.
How do you balance your life? Cran talked about it. You know, you're a young man. You've obviously got other interests in your life. How do you juggle it all?
I'm pretty lucky with people helping me. I've got a Karen Butt who does all my accounts and books all my flights and accommodation and rent a cars and stuff like that. So that saves a lot of time. And I've got Mike Jury, who's actually the coach of the boys high first
I'm
team.
going to ask you about that in a minute when we come back. Yeah, but carry on. Who else helps
He does
you?
my managing, so he does all my drives. So all the trainers will ring. She does my washing.
Yeah, but supportive, obviously.
Yeah, no, she is good. No, she's there, and you know, if I have a bad day, I might be in a bad mood, but she seems to handle it pretty well. And
Tell you what,
knows
look
the
at his
right
record. I don't think he has a hell of a lot of bad days, to be perfectly honest. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about that. His manager is a very, very interesting character. I want to know how he got involved with Dexter Dunn. When we come back, we'll talk to Crandall Giddy and Dexter Dunn, and 2 unsung heroes, in my opinion. Welcome back. Well, we've got 2 stars of the 2013-14 season, and they're travelling pretty jolly well in the 14-15 season as well. But of course, we're coming now to the sharp end, the time of the year when even those with no real interest in racing just get totally absorbed by it. And it's a big, big time for these 2 guys that we've got here. Crandall Giddy as a trainer, and of course Dexter Dunn as the driver. Mike Drury, tell us about him. We covered the Press Cup, as you know, and we covered Christchurch Boys High School a lot. And the manager of Christchurch Boys High School was Mike Drury. Came up in conversation. He's your manager, has been for some time. Or really from the start, has he, Dex?
I probably come aboard maybe after my first premiership win or second premiership win, I think.
He taught you, didn't he?
He did. He did
taught
teach
you
me
racing.
1 year. Yeah, that's it. He loved talking about it anyway.
So how did you get the association?
Well, he was in a syndicate with in a horse, in quite a big syndicate, or there's a few of his mates in a horse, and he rang me up to ask me to drive it one day, and I drove it, and then sort of kept in contact, and then it just one of those things that just sort of rolled into him being my full-time manager after a certain period of time. But
So what does he do for you?
so he rings up the trainers and gets me on horses and sorts all my drives out really, which is massive for me. It's a massive time saver, and he's really good at what he does.
So he's obviously got a rapport with the owners and trainers and whatnot.
He does indeed, yeah. No, he's probably been there 5-6 years now, so he knows quite a lot of the trainers now, and he'll come to the race nights and go introduce himself if he doesn't know them, if I'm driving for them, or talk to them if he does know them.
Right. What do you do, Cran, when, say, Dex isn't available? I mean, do you get on the phone? Do you do the ringing to get the drives?
Well, I just go into a panic, basically. I like him driving for me rather than against me, but yeah, Dex is very good. He sort of takes the majority of our drives, and you know, I'm never one to hold him back if he has another better one in the particular event, and then I've sort of got, you know, many other call upon, but they're only second rate after him.
Yeah, well, I know he's a bit special, isn't he? My gripe, as you heard me say at the top of the program, is I don't believe that either of these two guys, but particularly Dexter, gets the recognition that he deserves. And I remember putting an application in for a Sportsperson of the Year award. It didn't involve you, but it involved the Mochikarara meeting where for the volunteers, and I put that in, and I got about a one-line reply, sorry, don't do racing because gambling's involved. Well, I replied that I could bet on any sport probably in the world now. Why do some people win things that gambling is part of? I think you're badly served, Dexter. I know within the industry you looked after, but you know, you're a phenomenal freak, and I don't believe you've had the recognition that perhaps you should.
Yeah, well, probably not too much, Pete, but I was lucky enough to win Canterbury Junior Sportsman and Canterbury Sportsman of the Year a few years ago, so I guess we did get some recognition there, but you look at a guy like James McDonald who's, you know, he should be in the nomination in the Halberg Award, so Sportsman of the Year, so for New Zealand, and just won't get the recognition that he probably deserves because he is he's an unbelievable talent and what he's done.
What a hell of a nice guy. Have you met him?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
real nice guy, isn't he?
He is a good fella.
Cran, do you look at the industry? You've been in it a long, long time. I don't think people quite recognise the significance of the racing industry to the New Zealand economy.
Yes, it's enormous. I'd love to have an hour to talk to you about that, Pete, but financially it's a big, big benefit to New Zealand, no doubt about it, with export and import and with service, or mainly a lot of the stallions and the broodmares and the sales of New Zealand stock, because we're known as a nursery for our bloodstock to offshore, so yes, it is a big input.
And the number of people that are employed, if you go down the food chain of racing industry, you know, there's a lot of people involved, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a figure gets banted around sort of most years. It's between 35 to 40,000 people connected, from the trainer to the driver to the farrier to the feed merchant to the transporter to. It's a lot of people.
Then you've got the accommodation side of it. I mean, you guys are all around the country staying somewhere. You know, it's a huge industry, and I believe it deserves better treatment. You get a bit vocal over that when it gets to the top level?
Yes, as much. I'm probably not a politician to sort of get really wound up about it, but I'd love to have more input, but naturally I don't put input into it. But yes, there could be better things to be, well, more benefits to us, I think.
Now, I've got to tell you a wee story. This is off the record a bit, Dex, but I was having a couple of quiets with a bloke last night who told me the story of you wanted to be in the cart as a 5-year-old. True?
Oh, growing up on Dad's stables, you're always pretty keen to get in the cart, but my brother Johnny, he was
older.
He was way keen, but at a young age, he was right into it. He used to do everything he could to get out of school to do the horses, you know. So my real heavy involvement probably didn't come till I was about 11 or 12, actually.
I want to take you back to when you were 8, and they put you on a dog of a thing, put you on the beach. What happened?
Well, Dad told me, he said, if it plays up, you got two, go to the sand dunes or go to the sea. So I think I went to the sea, I think got wet.
Yeah, but you won that down the beach.
Well, I didn't get hurt anyway, so that was the main thing.
Yeah, that's as an 8-year-old. So there was probably never ever a discussion of what you were going to do, was there?
No. Of course I was going to be an All Black when I was younger.
Yeah.
But no, I was always involved in horses, and you know, once you get that taste for it and it gets in your blood, you just don't really see, tunnel vision, you don't really see anything else in the world apart from that.
And of course, my dad and mum been very successful. I hope the whole thing's gone well. John's gone well. You know, you eat, breathe, and sleep it, I assume, do you?
Yeah, well, probably both sides of our family are heavily involved. Mum's sides and dad's sides with horses, and it's been like that for a really long time now. So it's right through the family, and it's great for like grandma and nana to watch every single race that any of us, grandkids are racing in. So
they must be busy. You're race a hell of a lot.
They have plenty of time on the couch anyway.
Cran, from your side of it, how did you get Dexter? How does that work?
Well, an educated fluke, I suppose you could call it. Yeah, well, I was probably lucky enough some years ago. I had young Mark Jones come through, and he'd done a very good job, and he was sort of a star in his sort of era. And then I had a gap of about a year and a half, and I didn't really have an established driver, and I thought, well, you sort of got to try and well, not make one, but develop one or see one with talent yourself. And so I actually extracted him back from Australia. He was actually in Australia at the time with one of his good friends now, Randy Gath, who he worked for. And I did have to work on him for a few months. So.
Really? Why did you go to the Crown?
Well, it probably took so long to go there was because I was just started driving there. It was going really good and I was really enjoying it. But obviously, Crean rang me up, and the more I thought about it and talked about it with people, it was just too good.
Because ultimately, you would have come home anyway, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but you don't really know. But I guess it's hard to say what was going to happen.
What did Dad think about you going to Crans?
What's that?
What did Dad think of you going to Cran?
Oh, no, he talked me into it, really.
Yeah,
He thought it was a great idea.
John will be pleased to see the back
Well,
of you.
yeah, Johnny there, so it was obviously there was never going to be room for two of us, so I had to find somewhere else to go.
Two great guys, and they've had a wonderful season, and let's hope it continues into this new season, which started, of course, the 1st of August. Back for the next time as we have a look ahead to what is probably the most chaotic 4 or 5 weeks ahead of us in harness racing and in racing in general. Great talking to these two guys. They're so humble and yet they succeed, I believe, beyond expectation. Cran, is everything focused towards the next few weeks as far as you're concerned earlier on in the season or prior to even the start of the season?
Yes, well, we're actually fortunate enough to have a free-for-all horse which is eligible for the New Zealand Cup, so we'll start at the top and work down, but if we're lucky enough to sort of be in it, or, sure, we'd love to win it, but only one will, but it's what I find about the New Zealand Cup and having a New Zealand Cup horse, so we're lucky enough to ever win it one year. People away from the industry, my yesteryear friends and schoolmates, they all know who won the New Zealand Cup, but they don't know much else about during the year if they're not following the business. So that's the pinnacle of our industry, is the New Zealand Cup.
But like any athlete or whatever, I assume you have to pace that to be at your peak at that 2-mile event at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday night?
Very much so, and the interesting about it, I think we're all going with totally different theories. That they come the 15 starters, they all had a completely different preparation. So I think from my perspective is just worrying about our own one, because you do get in a swivel, you're worrying about what else is doing, and just working for the best for your material you have in your own hands, really. So
you'd have had setbacks, so coming up to cups in the past, I assume, horses that you thought would have been good enough and just for various reasons didn't quite cut it?
Well, in our industry, if you build up to big race and everything goes perfect, that's just not normal.
No,
so no indifferent to with Steve Hanson's going for it now, with some of his best players, there's always injuries because we're demanding so much more out of the athlete now. So they're like crystal bowls, we call them now, our horses. So and same as the ABs. So we're trying to perfect it if we can.
Dex, from your point of view, I mean, I was privileged enough to be on course and see Terra to Love win his 3rd Cup, and to me, and I've seen, I don't know how many Trotting Cup races over my lifetime, but it was an astonishing performance, to give 50 and still win, I mean, at the age of the horse, who'd done everything really by then anyway. An amazing performance.
Yeah, it is. It's hard enough to win it when you go away and you're at the front of the pack right from the word go, let alone miss away and give the ground and still make it up and then go around the field and win. So he seems to be able to really peak himself to 100% in that horse on that day. So it's, he's going to be in again this year and he's in pretty good form, which
could win
we're
4 straight.
Oh, definitely could, and he's favourite to do that. So, he's looking in pretty good shape for that, but we'll just have to try and go.
When the tapes flew in the last Trotting Cup, for argument's sake, and you were training Terra to Love, hypothetically, loses 50, what do you think in the stand then? He's gone for all money?
Well, you'd probably be looking for the nominations for the free-for-all 3 days later, really. But, he done something very much out of the ordinary. He's just an amazing athlete, and unfortunately for us, being competitors, he's probably as good, if not better, as we speak now.
Well, he's a pain in the butt, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
You shouldn't use the word butt when you're talking horses either.
Of course, our connection, sure, we'd love to win the race, but if we didn't, for the industry in general, if we did win 4, it would be great for the industry.
The opening up of the likes of the Jewels to Australians and whatnot, is that really in the best interest of harness racing?
Well, I've been sort of a wee bit different to a lot of people there. I thought it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, actually, myself, of bringing the Australians in. And in all facets of sport, to have the Kiwi and the New Zealand rivalry is fantastic. It builds it up bigger and better. They thought the Kiwis were going to lose financially. They're going to come over and sort of scalp all our top money away, but it doesn't sort of happen like that.
And I think if you look at the other side of it, if you look at the Melbourne Cup, I think a lot of the gloss has gone off the Melbourne Cup because there are so many imported horses racing in it. for the Australasian spectacle.
Yeah, so that's probably a fair comment, but I think worldwide the business gets more recognition, I think.
Dex, is there a race that's eluded you that you want?
There's a maiden a couple of weeks ago at Forbury. I lost and I got back.
Oh, Forbury, you got Forbury there, that's good, yeah.
Oh, no, I was in the New Zealand Cup.
Yeah.
I've had a few goes on now. I've had a third,
yeah.
2/3, I think, is it? 2/3 in that. So, I mean, anyone that grows up in New Zealand racing, the New Zealand Cup's always number one on the target. So
It's the one you want on your CV, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's but the thing is, they only come around once a year, and they're bloody hard to win it. Bloody hard to win it. So.
Tell me, and this is purely as an ignorant comment, I'm going to ask, is it more difficult to drive a trotter than a pacer?
If you get a good gaited trotter, they're really easy to drive, really. But if you get one that you got to nurse a bit, they're a bit harder. But you get pacers like that too. So, I mean, if you get a good gaited pacer and good gaited trotter and drive them, there's not much difference really.
Cran, is it true, an old analogy my dad used to say to me, that if a trotter in form's one year back, they seem to hold their form pretty well, trotters. Is that fair?
Yeah, that'd be a fair comment. They're probably more high maintenance, the trotters, because the balance is so much required, whereas a pacer, obviously with the hobbles on, we can sort of strap them together a little bit more. So, yeah, it's they are sort of more of a workload, I suppose, to maintain them, the trotter.
But once they're in the groove, you've got them pretty right?
Very much so. Change nothing, as they say, after that.
Tell us about your hope for the Cup, Kristen Lee. You're happy?
Yeah, he seems good. It's funny going into big races, you sort of several weeks out, you have a good week where you're happy and a bad week you're not so happy and vice versa, but you're just hoping that Falls will have 90% of control of how the horse is, and then another 10% will go in the lady luck and the lap of the gods, really. So,
Dex, how important is the draw? Does it, for say a 2-miler for a New Zealand Cup? I mean, Tyrrell Love made a mockery of it, really, to be honest, last year. But that's a different story. The draw, you're anxious when you wait for the draw to come out.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's
but
ideal?
You're not going to be able to change it. Well, from the back straight start, I'd say 4 to 9's perfect draw, anywhere in between there.
Front
the
right.
wider you draw, you seem to get away better. But in saying that, we drew, I think 1 was it, or 3 last year and got away good. And when we run second with Peter Strike, he drew 1. So. But they were good beginning horses, so I mean, you probably won't use a draw as an excuse after the New Zealand Cup for getting beat, but I mean, it is handy probably to draw 4 to 9.
So much can happen in that race, though, can't it?
It can, it's...
Everyone wants to win it.
Everyone wants to win every race they go out there, though, so it's probably just a lot more hyped up than any other race, so it's, I guess a bit more pressure goes on that.
Yeah, okay. Well, we wish you the best of luck, both Cran as well, because, it is a pinnacle. It's what you go for. Into Dominions, though, Cran, seem to have just dropped off the radar, haven't they? Have they been tampered with too much? Yeah,
so I think they, I'm not one to... I like innovation and changing and technology, but that was one where tradition probably should have been held with their, as the non-racing people might know, they have 3 heats in a week, and then they have a final a week later, and it sort of got put in a different... hard to explain, a real spin. They tried about 4 to 5 different ways around it, and it just didn't kick a goal, just didn't work. And actually the next racing year, Perth are holding it. They've got a 3-year tender which they got a hold of, and it's going back to the old traditional one. So I think that'll be a masterful stroke for them.
Right. We've run out of time. It's fascinating, isn't it? They're 2 wonderful, wonderful guys for the industry, great ambassadors, both of them. We wish them the very best of luck. You confident?
Never not.
11 of Tuesday the 11th, you confident?
Yes, we will be.
You'll have it on your CV?
Hopefully.
Okay, there we are. We're not doing a tipping program, we're just talking to people that are connected. And huge day, 11th, of course, of November at Addington Raceway. Get out and enjoy it. Thanks for your company. Catch you again next week.